For the last 2 years, Bandai has been releasing flurry of Gunpla kits based on the RX78-2, from the new G40 industrial version to the Beyond Global, the new Thunderbolt, the Origin series high grade, and also the Gundarium, very expensive premium model as well, and the Yokohama Gundam Yokohama factory version as well. So I'm just glad that this will be the final, at least what I think, the final Gunpla kit based on the Granddaddy RX78-2 mobile suit. We've been seeing way too many Gunpla kits based on the Granddaddy, and I think I speak for the rest of us. We are kind of sick of seeing this guy. But let's get back to the new Perfect Grade Unleashed Granddaddy, and I have to say, it looks really good. I'm really glad that Bandai retained the original design language of the RX78-2 and not go with the modern updated look like what we've seen from the G40 or the Beyond Global, and also the Yokohama front, which I didn't quite like. It looks a bit too slim for my liking. So first up, overall in terms of looks, I have to say it looks really good. Retain the same design language but added in a lot more details to the mobile suit. Secondly, I am actually quite find it's actually quite refreshing that Bandai included a new building process. So if you are in step 1, for example, all the runners will be included onto the specific phase for step 1. So you don't have to go back and forth looking for different parts on different runners like how we usually build. So I think that is something that is actually very refreshing. So if you finish building, let's say for example step 1, you can pretty much throw away all the runners that is based on step 1. That is how cool and easy the building process is going to be. Secondly, this time around, the inner frame, I think they have pretty much copied the same system as what we've seen from the real grid Gunpla kits. If you built the real grid system before, you know that some of the inner frame, you just have to cut them off, a little bit of twist and turn here, and you can actually start putting on the armors onto the inner frame. So this time around, you will be spending a lot less time in building the inner frame. If you built those old master grade kits before, I think you will know exactly what I'm talking about. And thirdly, this time around for this Perfect Grade, there are a lot of new gimmicks, and I'm not even talking about articulation for now. I'm talking about the inclusion of etching parts, 3D printed parts, and also magnets on the shield itself. Those are all new concepts, which, to be frank, for Bandai is new, but actually quite a lot of Japanese modelers and also modelers everywhere around the world have already started using that technology. It's just that for the first time, Bandai decided to commercialize it and include it into the overall build experience. So this time around, you actually have to put in your etching parts on the chest, on the knee, on the heatsink. The only question is, how well will this etching part stick? If you bought the third-party etching parts before, you know that you usually have to put in super glue to stick them onto the model kit itself. So it looks like the one from Bandai will actually comes with adhesive for you to stick onto the inner frame. So that will remain to be seen. There are also a lot of new inclusions such as 3D printed parts to make certain parts of the Gunpla kit look a little bit more realistic, and also inclusion of aluminium parts as well. So for example, like the thrusters on the backpack, those are all aluminium parts. So it will be quite interesting to see whether that will be too out of place on this Gunpla kit, right? I think the other thing that I really like about this kit is there is now a opening hatch gimmick as well. So we've seen this before on the Perfect Grade Unicorn, not so much, but I think this time around Bandai pretty much dialed it up to 11. So I really like the opening hatch gimmick, and it's probably one of the reasons then why I'll be buying this kit. I think Bandai might be making maybe some sort of like a diorama expression pack, because if you can do the open hatch display system, it will actually be real cool to have a garage where you can actually house the Perfect Grade RX78-2 with mechanics and engineers all over the Granddaddy itself. And of course, in terms of the articulation, they have really gone all out. There's 90 points of articulation, and it was quite interesting to see how the Granddaddy can move the torso without jeopardizing the core fighter. And yes, the core fighter will be able to be built separately, so that is something which I think a lot of fans will be quite happy about, right? So that is some of the things that I've discovered so far about the Granddaddy that I really like. Now, one of the things that I don't like about this kit, well, while I do like the fact that this perfect grade will have LED on the chest and the head and even on the saber itself, my biggest concern is actually on the LED for the saber. It's going to be quite tricky, to be frank, and I'm not sure whether that, will people be breaking that part on the LED for the lightsaber. It's going to be quite interesting to see how they incorporate the system onto the lightsaber and the battery as well. Now, of course, this being a brand new perfect grade rebuilt from the ground up, the other thing that I think a lot of you would be concerned about is the price. 25,000 yen seems a bit high, I agree, but given that the amount of parts, if you look at the part separation, the articulation, the inclusion of LED, metal parts, aluminum parts, etching parts as well, and even 3D printed stickers, I would say that, to be very frank, this is an amazing value. The only thing that is remain to be seen is, will Bandai release this perfect grade in a titanium finish, which I think they probably almost will. The usual limited edition for Gunpla Expos, Gundam base, clear color, smoke color, mechanical clear. So I do expect Bandai to be releasing a few different variations of the Granddaddy. The only thing that I'm kind of disappointed is, or maybe it shouldn't be a disappointment, but there was no mention whether there will be a base included with this kit. I think almost every other perfect grade before this Granddaddy as well, there will always be a base included into the kit, but for this time around, there was no mention of a standing base for the RX78-2. So I think that's pretty much it. To be frank, there is really nothing much to hate for the Granddaddy perfect grade. It's been a while since everybody waited for a perfect grade 2.0 of the Granddaddy, and I do think Bandai has really delivered this time around. I would like to know if you guys will be buying this, because yes, it's 25,000 yen. It's quite close to the price of the Master Grade Extreme 2, and I do think that this is definitely a better and worthy buy. It is quite interesting that Bandai has decided to release this under a brand new label called Perfect Grade Unleashed instead of the usual Perfect Grade. And to be very frank, if anyone is Bandai is looking at this video, my only other ask is, please update the Perfect Grade logo. It looks so basic and so stale. That's the only thing that I wish Bandai would update in terms of the branding for the Perfect Grade. And our weekly premium Bandai release this week is the Gundam Geminus 02, coming in at 2,200 yen, January 2021. Overall, it retains the same design language from the Geminus 01, and it's just in different colors. And also, I really like the overall look and feel of this guy in two or three tone of blue together with the bright yellow on the chest armor. The Geminus 02 is also compatible with the previously released Air Flight Expansion Pack that was released, I think, early this year or late last year. So you can actually combine them both if you have already bought the previous Geminus 01 and the Expansion Flight Pack. So this guy looks, to be frank, looks very good, and for the price, 2,200 yen, I can't complain. But with me being out here in Malaysia, this is an easy pass for me, unfortunately. Now, a little bit of bad news. The supposedly event that was supposed to take place at the end of this month in Malaysia, which is the Bandai Hobby event, is being postponed until further notice. This is really unfortunate because I was really looking forward to checking out and buying some of the Expo kits. Why is the event postponed? Well, unfortunately, due to the outbreak of COVID-19, some of the staff at the shopping mall that we were supposed to have the event at were infected. So I think there were a little bit more tighter regulations, and also some form of worry that people will not attend the event at the place where there was an outbreak. So that is really unfortunate, but let's wait and see. We're not sure yet whether the organizers will be rescheduling the event to a later date, maybe sometime in December or January. But if that do happens, we will be the first one to inform you on our channel. So do stay tuned on our channel for all the latest Gunpla news and also events and reviews. So there will be no news coverage from us from the event that's been postponed for now. If the event will be rescheduled to a later date, do check out our channel for our video coverage as well. So that's been our show for this week. It's a relatively smaller show. We don't have a lot of things to cover. But if you're new to our channel, hey, consider subscribing to our channel for all the latest news, what you've got to lose, right? I will see you guys down in the comment section below.